action here. Now tonight, we is going to be telling you all about a little country market in the town of Sycamore Creek, Missouri. Now, it's a tiny little place tucked back into the hills of the Ozarks. Yeah, that's exactly right. Not sure what you said, but it was exactly right. Now, our story begins in the winter of 1952, the first day of work for Lydia Johnson, the new clerk at the market. Now myself, well, that whole cat of a playwright didn't write me into this first act, so if y'all don't mind, I'm just going to come right on out there and join you. And I do hope you all enjoy the show.
Now, there ain't no reason to be nervous. I'm telling you, things move mighty slow around here. Most of the time, it's really easy. If you have any problems at all, I'll be right here or back in the butcher shop.
It's just that I've never worked in a shop dealing with the public before.
Now, you're looking at this thing all wrong. See, there ain't no public here. It's just a bunch of folks that live in a small town, about 100 or more, that just a mess of farm folks and ranches and whatnot scattered about the countryside. Won't be no time at all till you know the whole lot of them, and well, then you won't be calling the public like you just did. There'll be a bunch of friends stopping in to buy a few groceries and spend a little bit of time. You'll see, folks around these parts are pretty friendly. A young gal like you new to a place, well, what better way to meet folks and get to know your new neighbors?
I guess you're right. But it's still kind of scary.
Well, now, I guess it is, but you'll get along just fine. Just wait and see. Now, I'd best to get open on up here. We're 3 minutes after the hour already.
Morning, Jackson. I was beginning to worry there was something wrong. I was afeard I'd made a trip into town for nothing.
Oh, Amos, it's only 3 after the hour.
I know, and that's why I was afeard.
Well, I'm sorry that we got you all upset. We're open now for business.
Oh, now, who's this little bit of a gal?
Well, now, Amos, this here is my new clerk. Now, Lydia, this here is Amos Atwood. He has a ranch about, what is it, 4 miles south of town?
4.3 from my front porch to right here in this here store, to be exact.
All right, 4.3 then. And Amos, this here is Lydia Johnson. She married that oldest Johnson boy just last month.
Well, you don't say. Well, I didn't hear nothing about James getting hitched. Well, now tell me, welcome to our little town here, but now where'd you say you were from?
Oh, I'm from Cherryville.
Cherryville? So how did a gal from Cherryville meet a feller from Sycamore Creek?
Had a basketball game last year. James was a forward on the Sycamore Creek team, and I was a cheerleader for Cherryville.
Oh, it seems kind of sort of fraternizing with the enemy, weren't it, young lady?
I guess it was. But, well, we just happened to meet after the game and got to talking, and then he had to get back on the bus, and he just asked if I might want to go out sometime if he could borrow his dad's car. And, well, I just said okay. Not really sure why.
Well, now I'm guessing he must have impressed you with that basketball playing.
No, it sure wasn't that. We beat Sycamore Creek by 30-some points that night.
Yeah, don't say. And you were still willing to go out with the fella?
I guess I was. Like I said, I wasn't really sure why I said yes. But anyway, I said yes. We were both seniors and ended up dating all through the rest of high school and got engaged when we graduated and got married last month.
And I'll bet that, James, were the tires off his dad's old Dodge running between here and Cherryville.
I'll bet he sure did that. It's going to make a good story for your grandkids. A boy just gets all run over on the basketball court, but then ends up marrying the other team's cheerleader. a good one. That sort of puts me in mind of how I got my Marjorie. That was my wife. She died, let's see, it's been 7 years ago come February.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, now you'd be a whole lot sorrier if you'd have met her. She was one heck of a woman.
She sure was.
Well, I mean, see, we lived on, she lived on a farm next to my pa's place. And so we grew up right next to each other. Oh, I tell you, by the time I was in high school, well, I thought she was just about the prettiest gal I'd ever met. But she just thought of me as one of them darn kids next door that I tormented them when we were young. You know the way boys do with girls. When they're too young to appreciate, about girls being girls and all.
I know what you mean. I remember how mean the boys were when I was in grade school.
Well, now, you ought to take that as a compliment, young lady. The prettier a little gal is, the more the boys feel like they got to tease them. Wait a minute. Me and Margie was taking a walk one day out in the south by the south pasture, where my pa, he had his ornery old bull there just fenced off all by his own. Now, Margie, she was wearing a red kerchief over her hair, and I says, Margie, you give me that kerchief, and I'll go out there and I'll fight that there bull.
You didn't.
I sure did. I figured I'd just show that gal just how brave I was, and she'd forget all about how we was when we was kids. Well, now she takes off that kerchief, and she hands it to me, and she says, Amos Atwood, I just dare you to go out there with this little bitty kerchief and have that bull break your neck.
She dared you to do it?
She sure did. Now, mind you, she didn't think for a second I'd actually go through with it. Why wouldn't nobody in their right mind get out there with that ornery old bull? Of course, you see, I wasn't in my right mind at the time. I was in love with that Margie Finney. And a fella ain't in his right mind when he's in love. At least wise when he's 17, which I was at the time.
So you actually got out there in the field with that bull?
I sure did. Well, I said, with that red kerchief were no bigger than this. So I get out there and I holds up that kerchief in front of me like I was one of them Spanish conquistadors.
I think you mean matador.
Isn't that what I said?
No, you said conquistador.
Oh, well, dang, I always get that twisted around. Anyway, that old bull, ornery as he was, he did need a whole lot of encouragement, let me tell you. He came a-charging at me like this, right there like that. Now I'm going to tell you, young lady, having a big old ornery bull charging at you, and, well, it's enough to make a fella kind of rethink his decisions about it. But I stood there right thinking, Amos, all he got to do is move that little red kerchief off to the side just right at the last moment, just like them conquistadors do, and that there bull will just follow that there kerchief and just slip on by you. Slip as a whistle. Well, I waited, getting closer, and just at the right moment, just as close as I could figure, I slide that there curtain off to the side and look at you, please. And that there bull, he didn't even make the tiniest turn toward that kerchief. No, ma'am, he did not. I guess it was a good thing, too, on account he just hit me just dead right in the center, right dead twixt his horns. Now, I was a cartwheeling around like it, right on over the back of that old bull, just and he kept on going like I weren't nothing but air he was running through. I'm no telling how many times I twirled around before I hit the ground. But hit the ground I did. Lucky it had been pretty rainy the week before, so the ground was a mite soft. But anyway, I didn't no more hit the ground, believe you me, that I was back up and hightailing it for that fence. I could see Margie, she was just waving me on, yelling something fierce. And I got to that old fence, and I got both hands on that top of it. And with that old bull, just right then he caught up with me, and well, he just went ahead. Well, let me say, he helped me up over there. That old bull's head caught me right well, right in my backside there. And me, I was on the outside of that there fence.
Were you hurt bad?
Oh, no. I ended up with a whole mess of bruises. There weren't no broken bones or nothing. I was just there lying flat on my back like this. And there, looking down at me, was Margie Finney, looking just like an angel. So she says, Amos Atwood, you gotta be the dumbest fella that ever walked on this earth. I wasn't arguing with the point. But then, funny thing was, we started dating after that, and 6 months later, we was married.
So your bravery won her over.
No. No, it weren't that. She used to say it was two things about that bullfighting that caught her attention. One was the fact that if I could get tossed in the air twice without it killing me, well, it convinced her that I was sturdy enough that hard work sure weren't going to do me in either. And the other thing was, she figured that I was dumb enough that she were never going to lose no argument with me. You know, I guess she would ended up being right on both accounts.
Well, that's a great story. I'm sure sorry you lost her.
Well, now, I really can't complain too awful much, I guess. We had a lot of good years together. We got all three of our kids raised before she passed. But I admit, I sure enough do miss that old gal. But now it was nice meeting you. But I didn't come all the way down here just to gab all day. I got to get me some fuel, and then I got cows to feed back home. But Jeff, I plumb ran out of bacon this morning. You got any more size of that stuff I got here last month? I tell you, that's probably the best dang bacon I ever ate.
I believe I do, Amos. You know I never get tired of your stories. Come on back and I'll get you fixed up.
All right, and it's a pleasure, Miss Lydia. It's such a pleasure.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. Is Mr. Henderson here?
He is. He's back in the butcher shop with a customer. Can I help you with something?
Help me?
Yes. I'm Mr. Henderson's new clerk.
You are?
Yes. I just started this morning. If I could help you with anything, you'd be my first customer.
No, I really just came in to get a pot roast, so I'll just go on back to the butcher shop. But I can't believe Mr. Henderson hired another young girl after what happened to the last one.
Well, excuse me, ma'am, but I'm not a young girl. I'm 18 and I'm married. But what do you mean about the last girl?
Well, I don't think it's my place to say. But I will say that nobody blames Mr. Henderson, or at least most folks don't. It was that girl. She was never any good. And most folks think it was for the best that she had to leave town.
What are you saying? What happened?
Now, it isn't my place to say.
But what? I mean, why did she have to leave town?
Well, now, it was the shame of the thing. And of course, the shame the girl brought on her folks. And in a little town like this, too. Of course, her folks, they blame Mr. Henderson. But most everybody else knew it was that girl. Why, a girl like that, it would have happened the same no matter where she worked.
But what?
No, I've already said more than I should have. It's not my place to say. It's just I never would have figured Mr. Henderson would have hired another girl, married or not, to work in the market. Now, I have to go get my pot roast.
But what?
Thank you kindly, Jackson. Morning, Miss Sarah.
Good morning, Amos.
Amos, I need to ask you something.
Well, now, sure, Miss Lydia. What's on your mind?
Amos, what happened to the last girl that worked here?
Now, Miss Lydia, I don't want to talk about that.
But Amos, I have to know.
Nope, Miss Lydia. I just ain't going to talk about it.
But Amos, I have to know. Why did she leave town?
Now, should nobody be talking about that? That gal's poor folks having to live with the shame of it and all.
The shame of what, Amos?
I ain't gonna talk about it.
Amos, now I'm going to ask you straight out. Did that girl have an affair with Mr. Henderson?
An affair with Jackson? Now, Miss Lydia, Jackson there, he's a married man.
I know that, Amos. That's why it's called an affair.
Now, Miss Lydia, you got the whole thing all wrong. Now, there weren't no affair.
Then what happened?
Oh, I'll tell you. That gal was stealing from the market.
Stealing?
Yes. And it was a real shame, too.
But the woman that just came in sounded like some people blamed Mr. Henderson.
I should have known it was that Sarah that stirred all this up. Now, she just ain't the sort to let a thing lie. Now, it was just that the gal was skimming off money from when folks paid down their accounts here at the market. Of course, now Jackson, he could have none of that. So he started into hitting folks up, being behind on their accounts. Well, there was some hard feelings. Now, it took a bit of time to figure out what happened. And a little more time to get it all sorted out like.
Is that why the girl left town? Did she go to prison?
Oh, no. The law never done got involved in the whole thing. In the end, Jackson got back what little money the gal still was holding on to, and the rest, well, it was just lost is all.
So why did the girl have to leave town then?
Well, now it's pretty hard to make much of a life in town where you done stole from pretty near everybody in that town, even if it was just one poor fella that ended up taking the loss. I heard tell she moved to St. Louis. I guess that's punishment enough. Trade living in a nice little town like this for what passes for life in one of them big cities.
Well, thank you for telling me, Amos. I'm awfully relieved.
Now, you just forget all about that whole business, young lady. It's in the past. And that's where it ought to stay. And don't go listening to that Sarah Ellis no more. That woman stirs up more trouble than a tornado in a fever. Now, I got to get back to my cab. Jackson done put my bacon on my account already.
All right, Amos. Thank you again.
And it's a pleasure, Miss Lydia. I will see you soon.
Oh, good morning, ma'am.
Well, good morning to you. Is Mr. Henderson here?
Yes, ma'am. He's in the butcher shop with a customer. Can I help you with something? I'm Mr. Henderson's new clerk.
You are? Well, I'm surprised. I suppose you could. What's your name, child?
It's Lydia, ma'am. Lydia Johnson. I'm married to James Johnson.
Well, that's nice, child. I'm Mary Elizabeth Krause. And now I have just a very short list of groceries today. If you wouldn't mind getting them for me, it's a little hard for me to get around with my legs these days.
I'd be happy to, ma'am.
Now all I need is a loaf of bread and 2 cans of green beans.
All right, I'll have those in just a moment. Here you go, ma'am. Will this be cash or on an account?
I do not put anything on account.
Cash, then.
Is that bread fresh?
Ma'am, I don't rightly know, but I wouldn't think Mr. Henderson would sell old bread.
Well, why don't you know, child, if you're the new clerk in this market?
Ma'am, this is my first day here. In fact, you're my first real customer.
Well, that's no excuse for not knowing the condition of the bread you're selling.
Seems pretty fresh to me, ma'am.
All
that'll be 40 cents, ma'am.
By the way, this bread's all squished. I want this roll. What did you say? 40 cents? That can't be right.
It is, ma'am. I checked the prices when I got them off the shelves. 10 cents for the bread and 15 cents for the cans of beans.
No. Now you have it wrong price on those beans. You just go and check that again.
I'll do that if you want, ma'am, but I'm sure I got the right price.
Well, I'm sure you didn't. So you just go and check that price again.
All right, ma'am. I checked, ma'am, and it's just like I said, 15 cents a can.
But that's just not the price for those beans. I bought 2 cans of those beans just last week, and they were 12 cents a can. Now you go and check them again.
Ma'am, there is no point in me checking again. The price on those beans is 15 cents a can.
But I bought those same exact beans last week for 12 cents a can.
What the price was last week, ma'am, I can't rightly say since this is my first day here. But the price on those beans today is 15 cents a can, and that's what I have to charge for them.
Well, I am not paying 15 cents for a can of beans.
Then, ma'am, that'll be 10 cents for the bread.
But I need those beans as well.
Then that will be 40 cents, ma'am.
Good morning, Mary Elizabeth. How are you today?
I'll tell you how I am, Mr. Henderson. This child is trying to steal from me.
Oh, heavens above, not again.
I am not. And stop calling me a child. I'm a married woman.
Now, just everybody hold on a minute. What's going on here?
I'll tell you what's going on. This girl is trying to charge me 15 cents for a can of beans. That's just pure robbery. Mr. Henderson, it's pure robbery is what it is.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, Mary Elizabeth. I have to get home and get this pot roast started. Would you please put it on my account? Nice meeting you, Lydia.
Now, Mary Elizabeth, Lydia was not trying to steal from you. The wholesale price on canned goods has gone up, and I had to raise my prices just a bit to make up for it. So Lydia was charging the right price for those beans.
Well, she was very rude about it, too.
I was not.
Everybody just calm down. I'm sure it's just a little misunderstanding. I'll tell you what, Mary Elizabeth. Since you didn't know the price of those beans had gone up, I'll give it to you for the old price. Just this once, though. We'll let you have it for that. Let me see. 13 cents, wasn't it?
It was 12.
All right. 12 cents. Now, Lydia, you go ahead and you figure up Mary Elizabeth's bill, charge her 12 cents. But Mary Elizabeth, you cannot go about town telling everybody I gave you this special deal. This has to stay between me and you.
Well, all right, Mr. Henderson, I will.
Good then. All right, Lydia. You go ahead and figure up Mary Elizabeth's bill.
But it's
No,
not.
it's okay. Go ahead.
That'll be 34 cents, ma'am.
All right. And could you take my groceries to my car for me, please?
She sure will, Mary Elizabeth. And you go on out to your car, and Lydia will bring them out directly.
I appreciate that. I just can't carry much these days with this cane.
Mr. Henderson, I just don't understand. I didn't do anything wrong.
I know you didn't.
Then why did you side with that old woman?
I didn't side with her.
But she said I was trying to steal from her, and I was rude to her, and I wasn't, but you gave her discount like she deserved it.
No, now Lydia, I gave her a discount for your benefit.
How exactly does her getting 6 cents off her bill for calling me rude and a thief help me?
Well, now Lydia, you don't understand this right now, but you're going to understand it when you get a little older. But I'm going to try to explain it to you the best I can. Now, that old woman has lived in this town her whole life. Why, some of her people were the first ones to help found this place. And that old woman has been shopping in this store since, well, long before I owned it. And chances are she's going to keep shopping here until the day she dies. Now, I could stand up to her and I could convince her that we was in the right. And most likely she'd go ahead and she'd pay the full price for them beans. And we could both feel real good that we was in the right, but, you know, then that old woman, she's going to go about town, she's with a grudge against you, and she's going to tell everybody out there on the streets just what an evil person you are. All on account that you caught her in a mistake. Now that's what I could have done. Instead, what I did is I gave her a discount today of 6 cents. And a good reason not to tell anybody what happened here today. What you don't understand, what you have to understand, is that doing the right thing isn't always about being right. Not when it comes to dealing with the public. And especially when that public is someone like Mary Elizabeth Krause. Now you get those groceries bagged up and you take them out there. And if you want to make a friend out of her, you say, Miss Mary Elizabeth, I'm sorry about the misunderstanding. Now you can do what you want to do, but that's what I did.
All right, Mr. Henderson. But boy, this job isn't as simple as you made it out to be.
Well, I suppose you're right. Oh, Lord Almighty. Morning, Lydia. Thanks for coming in on a Sunday. Is that coffee ready? It sure is cold out there.
I just put it out, Mr. Henderson.
Oh, that's the best news I've heard all morning.
Was it a nice service?
Well, thankfully it was pretty short, but we was all huddled around like a bunch of penguins on an iceberg. An outdoor service on the coldest dang day of the year. Wouldn't it just figure? Anyway, a pretty good chunk of the town was there, and those that didn't head on home was going to be filtering in here pretty soon. Like I said, it was awful nice you coming here on a Sunday and all and setting things up for us.
I was happy to do it.
Lord Almighty, it's cold out there.
Lydia's got coffee over here on the counter waiting to warm everybody up.
Well, now, thank you kindly, Miss Lydia.
Well, now, come on, everybody. Get yourself a cup of coffee and don't be shy. And if you haven't met my new clerk yet, well, this here is Lydia. It's a fine time to say howdy to her. Most of you probably already know, but she married that Johnson boy just last month, and she started working here at the store just last week.
Well, now, everybody, here's to Miss Mary Elizabeth. She sure is going to be missed in this here town.
She was a fine woman.
And strong, too. Made the best of a hard life. She lost her little girl and her husband to the pneumonia of '06. Buried the both of them the same week. Then she lost most everything she had in the Depression.
She was a fine woman, what with everything she had to go through.
Now, Miss Lydia, there's no need to be like that, child. Now, Mary Elizabeth may have had some troubles in her life, but she made the best of her time here. Had a fine, long time on this earth, too. And she went nice and peaceful like in her sleep.
It's not that.
Then what's got a hold of you, child?
I had an argument with Mary Elizabeth the first day I worked here. Mr. Henderson tried to get me to apologize to her, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And now she's gone and it's too late. I thought she was just a cranky old woman. I didn't know how nice she really was.
Now looky here, Miss Lydia. I didn't hear nobody say anything about her being particularly nice.
Why, heavens, no. I bet Mary Elizabeth had words with every last person in this town at some point or another.
She sure did. And I just happen to know what your argument with Mary Elizabeth was about. And it was not your fault in the least. Mary Elizabeth accused this poor child of stealing from her on account of being charged 15 cents for a can of beans.
Yep, that's what it was all about, all right. Said it was pure robbery to charge 15 cents for them there beans.
Sure does sound like Mary Elizabeth.
Oh, now I remember another tussle Mary Elizabeth got into. Oh, it was years back when old Jasper Jacobs, you remember old Jasper? Yep, he ran over Mary Elizabeth's dog. Now Jasper, see, he had glasses, and them lenses was so thick that you'd see them lenses coming around the corner when old Jasper was still halfway down the block. And even with them on, he couldn't make out a brown cow in a green field. So anyway, remember, that old man? He loved driving that old Chevrolet of his. Now Mary Elizabeth, she had this old dog that would just lay smack dab in the middle of the street any day the sun was shining. Now, of course, everybody in town knew about that old dog. And we just, drive around him. But one day, old Jasper, he'd drive, and he just plowed right into that old dog. Busted up his leg good. That poor old dog, he lived the rest of his life. But now Mary Elizabeth, she was fit to be tied. It didn't matter to her that it was her dog lying in the middle of the street. She wanted to take that old Model T that she used to drive and run over old Jasper's leg. A leg for a leg. That's what she said, all right. Now, of course, Miss Lydia, weren't nobody really going to let her do that. So Mary Elizabeth, she started into, bartering it down. Comes all the way down, trying to have old Jasper lay in the road and letting her ride over his leg with her bicycle. I tell you, folks, I would have paid good money to see that.
I don't understand. You all said she was a fine woman.
And that she was. Now, she just had a bit of an ornery side to her, like how we all had to stand out there in the cold for her service. You know why that was?
No, why?
That was on account that Mary Elizabeth was Catholic. Now, there ain't no Catholic churches in this area, so she couldn't attend services regular. So it wouldn't have been no point in her having her funeral in a place where nobody really even knew her. So she had this little conversation with our preacher one day, and she said, She didn't mind him saying a few words over her, but she didn't want no service in no Baptist church after holding a Catholic for all these years. I think it would have pleased Mary Elizabeth to no end to know all us Baptists was out there standing in that cemetery on the coldest dang day of the year. It wouldn't surprise me one bit to think she'd even planned it that way.
Oh, now, I just about lay money on it that she did. Why, I can't remember how many times I heard Miss Mary Elizabeth say, "Now, you Baptists, you're fine folks, but I sure gonna miss every one of you when I'm behind them pearly gates in paradise."
Did she really think you all were going to hell for not being Catholic?
Oh, she was just funning. Mostly. Besides, I don't think she was figuring on us like going down to hell exactly. I think she just sort of thought maybe we'd all be, camped out, just on the other side of them gates, so we could look in and see how much fun and how fine it turned out for all them Catholics. Now, mind you, she was just funning, mostly. But I bet she got a heck of a kick out of sitting up there all nice and warm this morning, looking down on a whole town of Baptists shivering around her casket in that there graveyard.
Now, I admit, Mary Elizabeth could be a bit on the honor side. But now that you men folk have had your fun, sit down and I will tell you about the other side of Miss Mary Elizabeth. She had an apple tree in her backyard, and some of that tree hung over the fence into the alley. Well, the neighborhood boys, and my Joe being one of them, started picking those apples one day. That wasn't enough. They started climbing the fence and picking more. Then they ended up in the tree to get even more. Of course, by then, they were over in Mary Elizabeth's yard. Well, boys being boys, they got a whole heap of those apples and ended up in an apple fight out in the street, throwing in apples at each other. Well, you can imagine what Mary Elizabeth thought when she found out about it. She reckoned them apples to be pretty dear, and she demanded that Joe pay for it because he was the oldest one there. And my husband Clyde said that the price of them apples that she was charging, they must have come out of the Lord's own orchard for as high as it was. But it's hard to barter when the apples are all smashed up and down the streets.
Now, Sarah, I ain't exactly seeing how this here story is showing the other side of Mary Elizabeth.
Now, Amos Atwood, if you just let me finish, you will see. Now, my boy Joe, he was only 13, so he had to get a job. He started working for Jack Cassidy after school and helping around the shop, cleaning up. And every week after he got paid, he had to take every bit of that to Mary Elizabeth until he paid her all off. Well, a month or so after she was all paid off, she came to us with every penny he had given her. Said we were to open up a savings account for him, and he was not to touch it till we got out of high school. Well, that got him started saving. So he continued to work for Jack Cassidy after all through high school, and every week he'd take a bit of that pay and put it into his account. When he graduated high school, he was able to go to college. And there he took up studying business. He's the only one of our children that went to college. And I feel it was Mary Catherine that made that possible. So there's the other side of Miss Mary Elizabeth that I was talking about.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Well, now, I've just got a story to tell then. Now, let me tell you about when my husband ran off. That man left me without an ounce of warning and hardly 2 penny dimes to rub together. Well, I had to go get a job, or there wouldn't have been a penny coming in. And my little Maybelle was just 8, and he was no in these parts at all. Well, then, Mary Elizabeth just stepped right in and offered to watch over little Maybelle. Every evening when I went to pick her up, Mary Elizabeth would say, "Jane Taylor, if you don't teach that Mabel for discipline, she will never amount to more than 2 bits. She said that every single evening till fall, when school started back, and all the next summer too. But then, 10 years later, when Mabel graduated high school, Mary Elizabeth gave her a $10 gold piece. And she said, now Mabel, you hold on to this gold piece, and when you get you a man, you just keep this coin to yourself. No woman have to go through what your mama went through, she said. So I said, she might not have been the nicest person to talk to, but she sure was good to my little girl.
That was a heck of a thing.
I didn't know that.
And a $10 gold piece to boot. I would have thought the old gal could have managed that. Now, there once was a time when her family was about the richest family in this here town. They owned the mill. Betwixt that depression and then that there drought, well, the mill went bankrupt. Mary Elizabeth had to sell it. Word was creditors got most of what she got for it. Kind of sad. Going from a wealthy upbringing like that, having to haggle over a can of beef.
I didn't know any of that. Or I would have been nicer to her.
Oh, now, it weren't your fault, child. That's just how Mary Elizabeth was, is all.
But I just wish I had another chance to apologize to her.
Lord Almighty! Mary Elizabeth's come back from the grave!
I am so sorry about them beans, Mary Elizabeth. I truly am. Now won't you please go back to the grave and let us see?
Oh, she's trying to speak!
What in the goddamn is going on in here?
I accidentally called Mary Elizabeth back to the grave so I could apologize to her.
Mary Elizabeth? Mary Elizabeth? Why, this ain't Mary Elizabeth. This be your sister Frances.
But she looks just like Mary Elizabeth.
Well, what of it? I mean, they are sisters, just a year apart. Oh, are you all right, Frances?
They like to scare the life out of me.
Darn bunch of fools anyway.
How were we supposed to know? But that's just coming from seeing the preacher talking over Mary Elizabeth's body, and then the spitting image of her comes walking on in here?
Well, the fact that she was walking might have been a clue. I tell you what, the humans in this town here believe in that zombie stuff.
Well, now, it's pretty easy to say you don't believe in such and such until you find your own self looking right at a thing.
My wife ain't one of them zombie things.
Well, now, I'll grant you that now, but it weren't so obvious a moment or two back.
Well, for the land's sakes.
Now, let's just all calm down. Now, Francis, we're all just as sorry as we can be for mistaking you for the undead. And all we want to do is the loss of your sister. Won't you and your husband join us? We were just talking about what a wonderful sister you had. Now, there's coffee and donuts over here on the counter.
I don't know.
Now, y'all just sit right on down here. When you get Francis and... Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Emmett, but I don't think we can hang around this place.
Oh, no, just sit right on down here. Lydia will get you all some coffee. Now, come on, everybody. Make them feel at home. Yeah, come on.
Even that. Even that. Sorry about your loss.
Oh.
Great Scott, child.
I sure am sorry y'all missed Mary Elizabeth's service. It was a right nice one.
Well, I'll tell you, you ought to know that if there was any way we could have got here, for this here way, we'd have did it. But I tell you, we had to truck all the way down here from New York City.
Do tell. All the way from New York City. That's a fur piece to travel. But you know, it's funny. I don't remember hearing Mary Elizabeth ever talk about having a sister in New York City.
Well, I can't say that I'm surprised by that. My sister and I haven't spoken in years. Young lady, why were you apologizing to Mary about beef?
Oh, no, that was just all a little misunderstanding. See, Mary Elizabeth thought Lydia had charged her too much for a couple cans of beans last week, that's all.
And had she?
Oh, no. Mary Elizabeth didn't know the price had climbed up 3 cents a can is all.
So you all thought my sister would come back from the grave over 6 cents? I guess Mary never changed a bit in all these years.
Now, it's not like that. Lydia just felt bad about the misunderstanding.
Well, I can understand that. It's confusing to you folks. But it's a bad thing when we have to apologize for things. And I guess I ought to tell you, try to explain a little bit about things. Maybe you'd understand more. But see, Frances, she came back east years ago to go to college. And well, we met up there, and well, we got to Portland, and then of course later on, why, we got married. And that's why Frances never made it back to Missouri. And then when both of their parents died, why, Frances, she wanted to sell off that old mill and divvy up the money. But Mary Elizabeth would have none of that, and she just wanted to hold on to it. Well, you know that right after that, that dang depression came along and caused all the problems, and then not too far after that, along came that drought. Well, I guess you all know what happened to that old mill finally. But the thing of it is that Frances here got nearly nothing out of that thing.
Well, now, you know, it weren't rightly Mary Elizabeth's fault about that dang depression, nor that drought neither. Can't hardly put any blame on her for that.
But I can blame her for borrowing money on that mill for years without telling me, till there was nothing left and nothing to show for it.
Well, now, you just hold on there 1 minute. I just happen to know what there was to show. When that drought hit, and that there old mill, it wasn't making no money. It would have paid her to shut it down, all right then. But there was a whole lot of fellas depending on that old mill. There was the fellas that worked it, and then them fellas were scratching out enough harvest to get something to take to that mill. And them fellas all had families to feed too. Now, Miss Mary Elizabeth, she held on and she held on. And she borrowed to make payroll as long as she could. Just hoping that there drought and that there depression would let up. Well, they done outlasted her is all. But a lot of families got to eat on account of her trying. And that is what there is to show.
Well, it didn't help me any.
Well, you weren't here to help with running the old mill, neither.
Well, that's harder than I'd slam a door. I mean, it's just something that old mill never brought any money, and Frances ended up with nothing.
Now, let's just all calm down here.
You know, it seems to me that y'all didn't end up so awful bad. You got a nice suit to wear. You got enough money to travel halfway across the dang country, while poor Mary Elizabeth, She had to worry about the cost of a dang can of beans.
All right, now let's everybody just calm down.
What I want to know is, if you felt that way about your sister, what'd you come all the way back here for?
Well, glory be, they be sisters after all.
And someone has to settle Mary's estate.
Oh, that's what it is.
Now, let's all calm down. I don't have to stay here and listen to any more of this. Emmett, come on, let's get out of here.
Lord Almighty. You know, I like that woman a whole heap better when I thought she was a zombie.